Many children we strive to educate in West Virginia schools every day carry a heavy load of rocks in their bags, coming to school unable to focus and achieve success in school. The rocks are formed by layer upon layer of trauma. What are the sources of trauma? Generation after generation of exposure to poverty, unemployment, poor housing, homelessness, poor medical care, physical, mental, and sexual abuse, domestic violence and alcohol, prescription and heroin abuse in a seemingly unending cycle that impacts so many of our youth. Unfortunately, the variables that feed trauma have worsened with West Virginia's faltering economy as our once booming mining industry continues to dwindle. Schools have worked hard to address many of the needs related to increased poverty by providing book bags, school supplies, coats, clothing, and even take-home meals. Yet for many students, mental health needs remain a barrier to learning. We all know that according to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, 4 levels of needs must be addressed in order for students to have the need to know and learn. When these needs are not met, we see students frequently missing school, sleeping in class, unprepared for school, unable to pay attention, and often being sent to the office with discipline issues. Unfortunately, student mental health needs are often the last to be addressed in our schools.
have heard about the August 2015 Philippi school shooting that luckily never was. The student's teacher managed to keep a student calm while a state trooper and a pastor talked the boy into surrendering his weapon, so nobody was harmed. The experience was a success, an affirmation that school violence can be prevented. According to the 2015 Kids Count data report, West Virginia ranked 46th in the nation for educational proficiency. No one was surprised, and West Virginia has been consistently low in national education rankings for years. But expanded school mental health services may help change that paradigm. Kara Lofton reports.
Students, time today is end of the day announcement. Seniors, make sure you log on to President.
There are 719 public schools in West Virginia. 129 have school-based health centers, although note that some elementary middle or middle high schools share a center. Just over 30% of those, including Riverside High School and Bell, have mental health services.
Most of the problems, they end up going away after you get older, but some of them, they don't. And getting help young helps you not to have all kinds of horrible issues when you grow up.
That's Lillian Steele Thomas, a senior at Riverside. She has had, as she calls it, a tough life. Over the past 18 years, Lillian has lived with every relative who would take her in. She has also attended 6 or 7 different schools. Lillian has been diagnosed with depression and anxiety. Riverside is Lillian's second high school. The first did not have mental health services. I asked her if having mental health services available at school made any difference to her grades. The short answer, absolutely.
I have good grades now because I can study, but before I couldn't.
Lillian failed all her classes that first year of high school, except for the 2 that were graded based on participation. She said she thinks she was truant about half the time.
I just didn't feel like going to school anymore. What's the point if nobody cares? And my grades are bad anyway.
Being at Riverside, she said, is a world of difference. She feels more supported by both teachers and administrators, who in turn, she said, seem to feel more supported by having referral services available on site. The on-site services also mean she doesn't have to leave school for appointments or make up hours of work. She just shows the teacher her appointment card, then heads down the hall to the clinic waiting room. It's an envelope of support that for most of her life she hasn't gotten from home. Cases like Lillian seem like a success.
For many, many years, it was such a huge focus on academics with No Child Left Behind. So it was all about the test scores. And for many school leaders, they did not see the relationship between mental health and academics. But research shows that academics impact mental health and mental health impacts academics.
That's Barbara Brady, school counseling coordinator with the West Virginia Department of Education.
Many times we don't know what to do after we found out while the child is struggling. So creating that awareness and knowledge of different resources that are there to help them know how to get them there.
Administrators like Brady are quick to point out that if schools are not creating an overall better environment for students, placing therapists in schools will not be enough.
It's critical to have those universal preventions, universal supports, teaching all students the skills they need to succeed, teaching all students anger management skills, teaching all students conflict resolution skills, social skills, so on and so forth.
The idea is to slowly change the way schools think about mental health and behavioral support. It's not a one-size-fits-all prescription. Schools in Cabell County have very different challenges than schools in McDowell. These schools need to have programs available that they can pick and choose from that work for their school at this time. For Appalachia Health News, I'm Kara Lofton.
The West Virginia Expanded School Mental Health Steering Team needs your support in building a collaborative system of support for all students in West Virginia schools with mental health needs. It is time that we all work together to ensure school-based mental health services are in place in every school, to fill student backpacks with tools to replace the rocks caused by trauma, to gain skills to better deal with anger and stress, to build resilience and confidence, to develop coping skills, to learn problem solving, and to feel supported and empowered to achieve school success. Join us in our efforts to address mental health needs of students in our schools.